We're back with
We are
episode
back.
number 238,
30,
I believe.
38?
38, yep.
Good
238.
We're almost to
So, yeah.
250.
Pardon me for the little lapse between the countdown and the thing, but we're trying to stream live to, I forget the name of the channel now, 128DB.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, as I was playing the countdown, the 128 thing came back at me and said, sorry, you can't use it. You can't do this. So I had to click a button, and that caused a delay there.
Technology.
Gotta love it.
Technology gets you every time.
Should be.
So we're still streaming. We're still streaming live to Facebook and YouTube, but 128DB for whatever reason is not working. So we'll have to figure that out and get back with him later. All right. Anyhow, yeah, welcome. So as usual on our show, we have Baloney, one of the founding members of the Metal Roundtable, the one, the only, Carcass John.
Hey, what's up, you guys? I thought I had a good heavy metal name, Carcass John, and but it doesn't compare to Kevin's.
Yeah,
Kevin is the War God,
is AKA the Metal War God on YouTube. And your channel name has changed, right? What's your channel name now?
Old Metal Rocker.
Old Metal Rocker. But for years he was the Metal. When I
was on radio, I used Metal War God.
Okay,
that's my name there, DJ Metal War God. So, you know.
Well, that's way more metal than Carcass John. That's just might have been dead rotting corpse. But speaking of rotting corpse, oh hey Matt Story, yeah, I have your barbecue sauce still. Gee, many Christmas, I got it. You know that people think that if you live in Dallas, that you're just like next. It's like when people like when I used to live in LA, people would say, "Oh, do you know this person?" I'm like, "Well, there's like 18 million others that we know of, and then maybe 8 or 9 million more that we don't." And so, no, probably not. There's just the Metroplex is no different. It's Dallas Fort Worth is about 5 or 6 million people now, so it's massive. But
yes, it is.
And Matt Story, bless your heart, man. He lives 45 minutes. He is further away from me than Rob does, and you know how far that is. So that's
hey, look, Shannon Fry is here from Avenger of Blood.
Oh,
I just live in a small town on the Minnesota-North Dakota border. That on the North Dakota side is the town of Austin, and then on my side is Breckenridge. So we're kind of a border town, but maybe 10,000 people.
I know right where you are. I used to live in Burnsville.
Oh.
My first job out of college was for a company there in Burnsville. And by the way, Shannon Fry is about to unleash the most obliterating heavy metal onslaught that you can imagine with Avenger of Blood. It is absolutely it's a destroyer. It's a poser disposer for sure. So shout out to Shannon. I can't wait till I can play it on 128 DB Rock because that's up and going full guns. So look forward to being able to play that legally. Shannon, just let me know.
Right on. So hey, before we do the shout outs and the what do you call the pick of the week, POW. Yes. Rob, our Rob, everybody knows Rob, Hair Metal Rob. He who's got no hair. He's not here today, obviously, but he asked me to let everybody know that there is an episode of the Metal Roundtable that went up. I think it's episode 236 or 237, where he interviews John Allen of Stone Horses, who was also in Charm, City Devils, and Child's Play. And he says it's a fantastic video, and the guy gets really deep into Spinal Tap moments within the bands he was in. So I haven't even watched it yet. So it kind of went live without anybody knowing it. So it's there for everybody to watch. I will try to remember to put a link in the description below this video if anybody's interested in watching it. So there you go. And speaking of, hey Shannon, also your last album that was out on No Life to Metal Records is going to be going into mainstream distribution in the next. Actually, it's already in there, so it'll be in like Walmart.com and Target.com and Amoeba Records and all those kind of places. So
if you had told me
big time.
If you told me 10 or 15 years ago that I could buy an Avenger of Blood record at Walmart, I'd have thought you were high or had a few screws loose. But evidently, they're the largest brick and mortar music store in the world. So
Target, yep. Yeah, and it's since we got picked up by No Left to Metal got picked up by a big distributor. So yeah, our stuff's pretty much can be anywhere. Doesn't mean it will be, because brick and mortar stores actually have to order it, but anybody can now go to us there and order it. So anyhow,
maybe it'll even be in a border town in western Minnesota.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll do this. I'll do a shout out real quick first. I want to talk very, very quickly about Aerosmith and their lack of touring and the fact that they quit their final tour. Everybody in the world has texted me and asked me what I think about it, because everybody knows that I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, and I think ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, if Tyler is having a struggle singing on stage live and he doesn't want to use backing tracks and fake his vocals, then more power to him, man. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it. They could still go and record studio albums if they wanted to, but based on the last studio album, I'm not sure I want them to. But
well, we've had this discussion before, Scott, about when is it time to say that's enough, and just and maybe Aerosmith has enough integrity to say, yeah, we're done. I have some friends that went and saw Deep Purple and Yes last night, and I saw the videos, and I'm just like, yeah, I think the 70s and 80s version of those bands was probably way better. But I mean, the songs are great, and so if you've never seen them live, I've seen all the lineups of pretty much all the Deep Purple lineups, Mark 2, 3, 4.
Did you see it? Did you see it with Tommy Bolin?
I did see him with Tommy Bolin.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tommy Bolin actually is my favorite guitarist. I mean,
well, he was phenomenal. He did some things with a banana that I wasn't too fond of, but aside from that, and I was a young kid, and I was just like, oh wow, that's I came here for rock and roll, and that was kind of weird. But yeah, he's once again. In fact, somebody had asked me about Tommy Bolin earlier in the week, and I thought he was a fantastic guitarist that never got the just due, and then of course, and then of course he checked out way too soon before we got to see True Genius. But the sum of all his True Genius. But anyway, yeah, I've seen him in almost every rendition, including not this last one though. I know that they've got. They have Don Airey on keyboards, or had Don Airey?
Yes. No, they still do.
Still do. And Steve Morse.
Yep. Not anymore.
Not
Steve
anymore.
Morse is not there, no.
Okay.
Nope. Steve Morse quit to take care of his wife, I believe, who was sick with cancer.
Well, and once again, is it time for them to, who knows? I mean, Aerosmith, getting back to the, circling back to Aerosmith, I admire Aerosmith. Of course, that was one of the second or the third album that I ever purchased as a 13-year-old kid was Get Your Wings. So I have a fondness for Aerosmith, but I'm kind of glad that they've decided not to go out and fake it, because that's kind of annoying, and it's expensive. It's an expensive ticket.
Yes, very expensive, which is the reason I wasn't actually going to go see him on this last tour. And I've seen him like 12 or 14 times over the years, and man, I was like, $300 for crappy seats? No, pass.
No, pass.
I got about 40 Aerosmith or 50 Aerosmith bootlegs I can listen to instead of listening to that. So
right.
But yeah, Simon McBride is a Deep Purple guitarist. Grego let us know that. So
okay. Well, see, I'm out of touch with Deep Purple. Not that I don't like them. I love Deep Purple, and I still pull those albums out. Like as someone said. Someone said, I love Highway Star. And yes, that's one of my favorite songs ever by Deep Purple. And I pull it out and listen. I pull out that Machine Head or whatever. Even some of the locks.
Yeah.
There's so many good songs in their catalog, though. I mean, yeah, some are not as good as others. But, I mean, overall, for how long they've been around.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, 50 years plus a couple of days. And heck, I even pulled out Perpendicular the other day. I know that one gets a lot of criticism. Man, that's
a good album.
That thing shreds, man. They've never pulled out a Saint Anger or a Load and Reload, in my opinion. I
don't think so either.
They've always put out a quality record. It may not be Machine Head, it may not be In Rock, it may not be Fireball, but it's still quality music. And even some of their more recent stuff. But anyhow.
Well, I will say this to you, John. If you haven't listened to the new album, check it out. It's definitely the best they've done
Absolutely.
In decades. It really is. I mean, I like a lot of the stuff they've done over the last few years, but I think this one's better than anything they've done since maybe even Perpendicular.
Well, and only because I have a fondness for Deep Purple, I even give them any credit at all, or even listening time, because they just never have disappointed me.
Right, well, before we get into our topic, let's do the Carcass's POW pick of the week.
All right. Just FYI here, War God. I usually do a rock and a metal pick of the week, just because there's so much music out there. But I think that metalheads, if you're as old as we are, well, and I don't know how old you are, but I'm old, and
you guys are about the same age, I think.
Okay, well, I started buying records when I was 13, and so that was 50 plus years ago, and so I'm picking out things that I think that every record collector needs in their collection, no matter what. So here's my rock pick of the week, and we've talked about this before in other episodes, but I pulled out this Pink Floyd Animals, and part of the reason is I had to circle back to this. I didn't really, really like it as much as Wish You Were Here or Metal, but this thing is phenomenal. And this particular mix, this 2018 remix, and I bought the whole shooting match here with a Blu-ray and extra CDs and a live show and blah blah blah, and it's got a 5.1 mix that really sounds killer. But Pink Floyd Animals is creepy, haunting. It's got hugely great production, and I think that all metalheads, whether you're a metalhead or an old rocker or whatever, you need to have this in your collection. I just think that I don't think that we should not have any Pink Floyd in our collections. We should have pretty much that, at least the middle part of the catalog, if not all of it. So That being said, and of course that's my opinion. You can, and that's why we live in a free country. Here's kind of an obscurity. We talked about thrash a few episodes ago. I don't know if you've ever heard of Cyclone from Belgium.
Yep. Of course.
I often mistook these guys for a German thrash band because they sound very reminiscent of a German version of Exodus. So if you love Exodus and you love German thrash, this album right here is your ticket. And so that's my metal pick of the week. It's called Inferior to None. But this thing is freaking awesome. If you can find it, I know that the CD is
hard to find.
Yeah, the CD is more readily available, but the vinyl is good luck because it's on an obscure label, Justice Records out of Germany. Good luck.
I'd never find it up here. At absolutely nothing for metals up here hardly. Once in a while.
So how far is Duluth from you then, Kevin?
About 220 miles across the state to the east.
So that's a hoof if you want to go to Electric. Is Electric Fetus still open there?
Or I'm not sure, but I used to live in Duluth, so when I first really got into buying a lot of albums was in Duluth. So we had like 6-7 shops right downtown.
Before we get into the topic here, we got Grego said something about, speaking of Aerosmith and Deep Purple, good topic, good future topic. Well, what I neglected to say earlier when I brought the whole subject up is we're gonna probably have on guitarist extraordinaire Chris Manning, yes. And he wants to talk all things Aerosmith in the near future, so that should be coming up in a few episodes. I'm not sure when, but we haven't scheduled it, but that's coming up. But let's get right into our topic now, because we're already 15 minutes in and we don't have a whole lot of time. So we're going to be talking new wave of traditional heavy metal, and that is a sound that Kevin is he's probably got more new bands and releases from these newer, younger bands than anybody I know. So that's why I called and asked him if he wanted to do it. So, but why don't we first talk what is new wave of traditional heavy metal? Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, it's just a newer version of the new wave of British heavy metal back, in the late 70s, early 80s, but it kind of, to me, the new wave of British heavy metal really didn't have a long lifespan, but there sure are a lot of bands. So, a lot of these younger bands coming on, which I'll show a few here and there, that wanted to get back to that traditional sound. You know, I mean, you got the traditional heavy metal bands, which I consider like Judas Priest, Saxon, bands like that.
Iron Maiden, and
right. But the new wave of traditional heavy metal, in my opinion, it started. God, I want to say the late 1990s, early 2000s. You know, I mean, and it kind of built its following from there.
Yeah, I kind of did a little bit of researching before the show just to look it up, because I'm really into this new genre too, and I pulled about 20 or 30 albums to show on top of what you pulled too. But yeah, I mean, it seems to me that most of these bands are pulling their influences from either the 70s or 80s. So you got a lot of bands pulling from bands like, Thin Lizzy and Black Sabbath, and then a lot more pulling from, Judas Priest and Saxon, like you were saying. So, and they're sticking to that traditional heavy metal sound. They're not like straying outside of it, going into death metal, maybe a little bit of speed and thrash metal, but for the most part sticking to traditional heavy metal. And a lot of it, you can hear those, like I said, those Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash influences and stuff like that, right, which is fantastic.
So let me ask a dumb question, because I'm dumb on this subject and fully admit it. So when did this trend start, do you think? I mean, when can you kind of pinpoint it? I know there's been a new wave of LA thrash metal. That was a thing back in the early aughts, but
yeah, in the early 2000s was the new wave of thrash metal, but the new wave of traditional heavy metal started a little later than that, like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, about 2005, but there were bands prior to that just starting out with it, and here's one of the bands right here that, and they're hard to find these albums, but Helvet's Port. I believe these guys I think they're out of Sweden.
I'm gonna try and figure out how to solo you so you can show people, so people can see it. Give me a second.
Yeah, this band is one of the first early bands to really come back with that, the new wave British style, but in a more traditional sense. They wanted to put their own spin on that, and this is one of the early bands doing it. There are others that started with them too, like Skullview.
Yep.
Or not Skullview, but Skullfist.
Yeah, I actually pulled some Skullfist, but also, what do you think about Wolf? Do you think Wolf fits in there as one of the earlier bands?
I think they're borderline more original heavy than the traditional. I mean, they do have the elements of the traditional metal sounds. And Wolf, they don't change. I mean, they basically keep it the same. I mean, why change something that's working good for you,
Yeah, agreed. I pulled a couple here that I guess I got to change the layout so you guys can see me. Sorry, guys. I'm here. That's good. I'll do that then. But Black Trip, these guys only put out 2 albums, and then they lost some members and changed their name. But if you like that Thin Lizzy, that heavy Thin Lizzy sound with the dual guitars and all that kind of stuff, Black Trip is right up there.
Hello.
Oh.
I'm
and then
in an interview here.
Witch Hazel.
Yeah. So I got to go.
No, they're relatively new, aren't they, Scott?
Now these guys have been around for at least 10 years now. But yes,
okay. Well,
they suddenly got popular in the last few years, and they're coming out with all kinds of, I think they've got 4 total studio albums out, and then they've got 3 or 4 singles out, and so they're still kicking butt. And I think they just played a bunch of shows over at some European festivals. So
yeah, I think aren't they playing, or did they just not? Or they just? I think they just played Hell's Heroes, or they're gonna play Hell's Heroes next year, or I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, early on, there weren't a lot of those bands doing the new wave of traditional heavy metal. But like you said, about 2005 is really when it really started to explode. Of course, you got bands like Striker, of course, Skullfist, Ram, Ambush, Enforcer, Screamer, stuff like that. From all parts of a lot of it was from Europe, though. Ram, right? Yeah. There's a Ram there.
I've got all the Ram albums. This is probably my favorite from them.
They've been around a long, long time, though, haven't they?
Since the 2000s.
Yeah. I thought they'd been around in the 80s and sort of got back together. I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of, but yep, that's them. That's their. Actually, I'll look it up while you guys continue to talk.
Yeah, I was going to say Striker. I saw them at a brewery in St. Paul by accident. we were just looking for a place to hang out and get a bite to eat. And someone said, "Oh yeah, the brewery down the street in St. Paul." And we went down there and Stryker was setting up. And I'm like, are we about to wreck our necks here? It was great.
Yeah, Stryker, they're Canadian. And I mean, one of my favorites.
Now, Enforcer, I had told Scott that I'm not sold on the new record as much. And I need to probably listen to something besides the one that they put out, the song that they put out and beat you over the head with. But man, early on, those like the first 3 albums were just shredders. But it was borderline American speed metal and not so much traditional heavy metal. I don't know what they've become now. That same thing with Cauldron from Canada, not to be confused with Varnum Ponville's Cauldron down in the Louisiana Swamp Doom. But yeah, then all of a sudden they truly changed. In fact, Cauldron was opening for Toxic Holocaust and Municipal Waste and those types of bands, and then all of a sudden now they're to me they're just not the same band.
Cauldron,
but
Cauldron,
yeah. There's one where there's like no, that's not the. There's one where
that
there's like
in Ruin, right?
Like, is there one where they're silhouetted on the
back
front?
one was in Ruins, wasn't it?
Yes, this is in Ruin here.
Is that their
Another
first
early band hero, of course, was
this is their, as far as I know, this is their first one, and this is the back cover.
Now, see, I've heard of Stallion before.
Yeah, Stallion are great too.
But once again, I don't know. I just need to probably venture down that path. I don't want to be anchor on this boat. I want to be I want to be a passenger.
Well, it's like a lot of other metal genres. I mean, there's a surplus of these types of bands out there. Now, a lot of them aren't as, let's say, up there yet, but they try. And then there's those bands that are pretty constant in putting out music, especially nowadays.
And I think Scott can attest to this, but I think the bands that are still hungry put out the better records. And then you expect more from them because you either see them live on the undercard somehow. And like I saw Cauldron and I thought, man, these dudes rip. They're awesome. And then there was 3 or 4 other bands after them. And I just remember they made such an impression. I went out and bought their CD, and then I saw their second album come out and I thought, man, this isn't even this. I thought I bought the wrong band. It was so different. It was so different. And so anyway, but bands like Haunt, would they be considered?
Oh yeah. And I didn't even pull any Haunt because I knew I don't know a bigger fan of Haunt than Kevin, so I didn't even pull any because I knew he would.
I've seen them live at least 3 times and really like them live, but their records are. I guess I just need to dive into them. I'm not trying to be a band because
Now
if
these are all
record that's saying something.
I buy when I buy Haunt, I buy everything. It's just not one item; it's just everything when they come out and stuff. I only pulled one of each. So first one here, Luminous Eyes. This is an original. Hard to find an original of this. It's only got 4 tracks. Then you got this one here, of course. I'm good friends with Church. In fact, his dad was one of the original members of Montrose.
Wow. Phil Upchurch?
Yep. And that's his dad.
Wasn't he the bass player?
Yep.
And he played in Boston too, didn't he, for a while?
I don't recall that, but I know Montrose. But anyway, there's some more Haunt here. Like
here, I'll go ahead and solo you so you can show the rest of them.
That's crazy.
I've got a lot of them. I don't have all of them.
Yeah,
there's so many of them.
Fraser Dawson says that dude just keeps cranking out records.
He does. He'll put out maybe 2 a year. He slowed down a little bit now.
Now he's just kind of a solo project, and he gets a couple of hired guns and goes out on the road, right?
Right. He's out on the road right now. In fact, he just was in Minneapolis here, I think 2 days ago.
Yeah, I think I missed all that. Are they with the Gatecreeper, or who are they? I can't remember who they're out with.
God, I can't.
Man,
I think so.
There's so many friggin' albums from them.
Now, are they full length or are they just EPs?
Some of them are EPs and some of them are full length. Some of them are demos.
Gotcha.
and they all have this very similar look for the cover art, which I like.
Sure.
I like their artwork.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
I pulled a pile of CDs.
That's about all I have. That's from every album that he's put out now.
Okay, so. Savage Master. That's who I.
Not to mention the 20 or 30 7-inch records they have out, right?
Right, and plus he has bands on his own label, so a lot of the music he puts out is on his own label now. Church Recordings.
Yep, Savage Master was one of the bands I was gonna mention, but since we're going through these, we did mention this one already, so I'll go ahead and just show it. But yeah, Skullfist, one of the original from the new wave of traditional heavy metal. And how about this one? Storm Zone. Or this one, Storm Zone.
I didn't pull any CDs, but I just pulled cassettes.
Yeah, this is this I can't remember where they're from now. I'm gonna have to look it up. Storm Zone. Maybe it'll come to me. Oh, they're Ireland, Northern Ireland. But yeah, these guys are fantastic. Big influence from bands like Deep Purple and Uriah Heep, but with a more heavy metal bend. You know what I mean? It's not quite as bluesy rock and roll as those two bands were, but still, you can definitely hear the Uriah Heep, Deep Purple influence in this band. And I love the fact that they're doing this kind of 70s looking progressive rock covers. I think this is
Savage Master.
Yeah. Here's another one. How about I just showed this one earlier. This just came out, but this is Transcendent Awaken. Brand new release just came out. Now,
I listened to some of that, Scott, and it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't want to say I was surprised because I don't want to make the guy sound like I just didn't think as much. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. Let's just put it that way. And I like the vocals a lot too. Originally, they had Dale Thompson singing for him, and I'm glad they got their own vocalist and separated themselves from that pack. So, how about this one? Old Wolf? Anybody?
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Matter of fact, I love this. The EP they put out, the Old Wolf EP. These guys are fantastic. Again, I think there's something to the 70s influences in some of these bands that I really like, because you can definitely hear, stuff like Thin Lizzy influences in their sound, and with all that dual guitaring stuff. Let's see. How'd these get in here? John?
Those are
tentacles. Those don't belong in there. That was accident.
They're a new wave of great music band. Yeah, that's what they are.
Here's another one that most people probably don't know, but these guys have 3 albums out. Veil of Deception.
I have one of them.
I have all 3, and I have the album they put out right before this one. They had a different name. This is my favorite of all of them. Very unique vocals. Kind of sounds like if Vince Neil could sing. That's what you got here.
Wow. Could he ever?
Yeah, well, I mean, no, but he was you don't have to be a great singer to be in rock and roll.
He's kind of like a poor man's David Lee Roth. He couldn't sing.
David Lee Roth couldn't sing either, but this guy,
but he managed.
This guy can. He's got a tone that reminds me a bit of Vince Neil.
Gotcha.
But he can sing.
They all wanted to copy Jim Dandy.
Yeah, of course they did.
I think this is the 3rd album from this band, but I've showed this before. But this is the new Savage Wisdom.
Yeah. This
band out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. So that's kind of how I know him. I actually played some shows with them back in the day. And I talked a little bit before I let you go again, Kevin, with John about this one on the phone earlier. I don't know if you can include Iron Jaw in here or not. Their sound is definitely in the Judas Priest inspired, brand new band. This is only their 1st album. Their 2nd album is coming out at the beginning of 2025. I think these guys are. What do you think of these guys, John?
Love them. I mean, plus they're hometown heroes, but it's not young guys playing old guys.
Yeah, but that's why I was. So Kevin, would you consider a band that's got a bunch of older guys, in their 50s and 60s playing the old style of music, but it's a new band? Would you consider that part of the same wave, or would you only have to be the young guys doing it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought too.
Why not? I mean, if you can play good music at any age, why not go for it?
Sure,
exactly.
And the irony here is that they've all been in bands that are heavier, faster, You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the Gamma Side, War Beast, Creeper. I mean, they've been in a Rotting Corpse. I mean, they're drummers from Rotting Corpse, for crying out loud. I mean, so
right. But the sound is definitely straightforward Screaming for Vengeance style heavy metal. I mean, and the vocals are unique, and I really like them. I can't wait for the new album to come out. I heard a couple of the songs, and they're fantastic.
Todd,
that's the evolution of metal. I mean, when you get guys together in one band who are in other bands, I mean, and they put out different music. I mean, people probably like it, are gonna go for it, and probably make that style. I mean,
the vocalist for Iron Jaw, and yes, Fraser Dawson, by the way, I did do the cover for that. Todd, the excuse me, the vocalist for Iron Jaw used to be a very serviceable drummer for Creeper, and we've had Creeper on before. And anyway, and now Glenn Rogers asked a pretty poignant question here. He said, like Primal, they're a new band with a bunch of old dudes kind of doing traditional sounding metal and thrash. So, I mean, to your point, Kevin, I don't think you draw the line anywhere. If you can do it, great. I mean, a sound is a sound, and music is, to me, that's why the lines of genres are blurred so much, is because they just, if it's great, it's good. Let's listen to it. If it's terrible, well, I don't care if it's death metal or speed metal or new wave of traditional heavy metal. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's great, it's great.
Exactly. There was a band I interviewed, must have been about 3-4 years ago on my radio show, and they were a band out of the 80s that played the traditional heavy metal sound, and they put out a couple of albums a couple of years ago. But I interviewed them, and they had just gotten back from Keep It True Festival, and the band is Siren.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But
yeah,
they put out two albums since. This is their last one. This is more of an EP though. But
yeah, they have 2 albums out since reforming. But see, I don't consider the reformed bands necessarily to be new wave of traditional heavy metal. But I mean, I think that a lot of the new bands helped resurrect some of the older bands,
right?
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. So what else you got to show us, man? Show us some more stuff.
All right, let's see here.
Glenn Rogers said, "What about Primal?"
Yeah, that's what I was saying. A bunch of old dudes doing new music, and like I said, doesn't matter. Like it's like Iron Jaw.
I think Primal predates the movement, but if I'm not, I mean,
they're more thrash though, aren't they?
Primal, they're kind of in between the two.
Yeah,
they're not really full on thrash, but they're not really straightforward metal. They're kind of like. And they're not speed metal; they're just doing their own thing. I mean, you ever heard the first Deliverance album?
Yeah,
it's kind of that style of. If you consider that thrash metal, that's kind of where it's at. A lot of mid-paced chugging, and a few fast songs here. But it's not, it's not double bass all the time and speed for speed's sake. So
yeah.
So a lot of these bands are all fairly newer bands in the category here, like Oxblood Forge. This is more epic in nature. Let's take it out here.
I'm gonna solo you again so you can.
Kind of hard to see, but just a 10-inch, and they've got cassettes out. Some of these bands, they'll only put a cassette out, and that's it. This band puts a bit of CDs, cassettes, 10-inch. I think they have one full length.
There's actually one.
The new Bandcamp thing is to put out a cassette with a download card.
Right.
So you have a physical product. So it's sort of novel. It's a novelty. It's an old school novelty to have a cassette, but you still have the music. You don't have to sit there and pull it off the tape.
Another band here. This is a side project of one of the members from Seven Sisters out of the UK, Phantom Spell. This is more darker, rawer sounding traditional metal. But still a fantastic piece of heavy metal here. But I mean, you got to pick these up when you see them, otherwise you're gone. A lot of people don't realize that. Now, this one here, this band's been around a while, and of course, you just mentioned them earlier, and I buy usually everything from this band, Savage Master.
Yeah. they have an interesting look.
Yeah, they do. You know, I mean that one here, and then I have mostly all of them, and then of course you got this one here.
What's the singer's name? I can't remember her name for the life of me at the moment.
Stacy Savage.
There you go.
Newer one. This band is out of Greece called Rage and Fire.
Yep, there's one I didn't even know.
Very Judas Priest sounding. This band here out of Australia. This is more I wouldn't say on the new wave, but more traditional heavy metal. Straightforward metal rather than the new traditional sound.
Wolf.
Road Wolf.
Road Wolf. Never.
Yeah,
I'm taking notes. I'm just taking a splattering of Road Wolf from Australia.
And then this band here, Saber. This is on Trevor Church's label, Church Recordings. He has quite a few bands that are all new wave of traditional heavy metal bands, and this is one of them. He kind of he split from Shadow Kingdom because they were initially doing his recording all his vinyl, and then he went to his own, and then of course Lady Beast.
Nice, that's a good one too.
Yeah,
I've got some of their stuff.
In fact, they went to a bigger label now. I think they went to No Remorse, so they're getting a lot more attention nowadays.
Right on.
All great stuff. I mean, if you say there isn't any great music out there, well, then you're not really looking for it.
You're not really looking for it hard because it's all over the place.
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
Well, I got a few more.
How about Vulture? How about Vulture? I've heard of them.
Vulture,
yes. They're thrash though.
They're more speed metalish though, and they're a fantastic band. Another band kind of in that same category is a band out of India called Cryptos.
Yep.
How about
Canada?
Ranger? Are they?
Yep.
Ranger, another new one, but they're definitely more thrash.
Spell.
I love this band. Spell. Yeah, I think they have a few albums, and they have a split single they did with what the heck, man? Thank you. total brain fart going on there. Here's one that you might know, John. We've had this guy on our show several times.
I just got that. And that silly dude, Vic is a funny guy. I said, he said, what colors do you want? I have various colors. And I said, well, I have a lot of black records and I have a lot of red records. And I said, what do you call it? There Will Be Blood probably should be red, but surprised me. So that showed up in pink.
Show it again, Kevin.
I
made you bigger so we can see it. There you go.
Yeah. And that Volcana came in like a pukey pea green. So shout out to Vic from Vindicator. You're awesome. Vic Stone he's amazing.
Here's another one I like a lot, and in fact I was just playing one of their albums today. I may have showed the CD. I don't know. It might be in my car still. Iron Kingdom.
I've actually heard of them.
Oh yeah, out of BC, British Columbia.
Fantastic. Again, they kind of have that Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy dual guitar thing going on, which of course I really like. I was playing their most recent album today. I thought I had it right here. I probably still do. I just got too much crap in front of me at the moment. But anyhow, I don't know. I just made a mess on my desk with all this stuff I pulled. So, but anyhow, I'll keep going. I got more I can show. How about I only pulled one, but I've got tons of these guys.
Yeah, we talked about them earlier. Striker.
Yeah,
that's funny. You should show that.
There it is.
What do you think of this one? I can't even read the Striker logo.
Yeah, it's terrible.
That's the new one.
That's the only one I don't have yet. I need to get it, but you got to have money for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very hard. I mean, if there is a negative on this album, it's right up here. You can't read Striker. I mean, it's very hard. It's almost like a black metal or a death metal.
Is that like a Mylar?
It looks like it's printed on silver. Yeah, it looks like it's printed on silver paper.
Yeah, but this was a Kickstarter, so this is all autographed too. So
that's nice. Ready? Here's another one.
Okay, I've actually heard Spellcaster.
That's funny you're doing that because I've been looking for that one.
I have that one on purple vinyl, actually.
I think this is purple vinyl as well.
I was going to show this one.
There you go.
There you go, you guys.
So yeah, great band.
This one is hard to find nowadays. You can't find these.
Yeah, it was on. Well, this one here is nearly impossible to find because it's on it's the long defunct heavy artillery.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same one with Merciless Death and who else? Who else was on that?
This one here is on Prosthetic. I actually bought it directly from the label back in the day, so I don't know if Prosthetic is still around or not.
Yeah, they're still around.
Yeah. So
here's another one of my female fronted bands, Tower, out of New York City.
Oh yeah, I remember you. I think you've sent me some of their stuff. Nice.
If you see me looking down, Kevin, I'm taking notes. So.
And then you just one sitting.
One more. This band is based out, I believe, Kansas City, Missouri. Throne of Iron. This is very raw sounding heavy metal. I mean, it has that traditional edge to it, but it also has some peaks and valleys of epic metal in here too. So it's kind of a mixture, and it's very good.
I just wrote that one down.
No remorse.
But there's one behind you too. I guess that's the door behind you. Smolder. That's another one that nobody's mentioned yet.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's kind of they're a little doomy sounding, kind of, I don't know, early Candlemass with female vocals.
Yeah. Female vocals.
But speaking of raw, how about this one?
Bat.
Okay, now that's more speed metal though. That's more threat. That's
Ryan. Not really. Kind of sounds like Motorhead to me.
It's Ryan from Municipal Waste.
Yes. It's a little more of I think he slowed down for Municipal Waste and was doing
almost like Midnight playing with Municipal Waste guys.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Kevin about this one before you got on. I was like, I'm not sure if it exactly fits, but it's definitely raw. Kind of has, I don't know, maybe Venom meets Motorhead kind of sound to it.
So. Exactly.
Once again, they're great live. Their albums are just to me, but live they're killer. Battle Beast. There's another great live band.
Yep.
I like the earlier Battle Beast better though. With what's her name?
I just pulled the one.
I think of her name on vocals. I think she. I know you're talking about, but they're all good albums. I'd mentioned bands from India that are
like Amorphia. How about that?
Against Evil.
Against Evil.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of Amorphia?
I have. I don't have any, but I have heard of them.
They're a thrash band. Yeah.
A hotbed for metal right now is India. I mean, seriously, they are cranking out some killer bands. This is one of them. This is their second album. They have 3 releases. They're hard to get. They're on Doc Gator Records. Another band, and these guys have been around longer than Against Evil, is Kryptos.
And that's when I don't have anything by, so.
The vocals are more Chris Bottendahl sounding.
Okay.
Kind of a harsher style.
Which I love Chris's vocals, so.
But these guys, they're borderline. They do have some thrash elements in this, but all in all, it's more traditional metal.
I found it. There it is. There's the new Iron Kingdom. I'll take it out of the case so I get less glare. But I don't have it on vinyl. I don't even know it was available on vinyl. So, but yeah, this is fantastic. This will be one of my albums of the year because I got this thing towards the beginning of the year and I'm still playing it constantly. So, very much. And these guys, Iron Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, aren't they they're from Canada, right? From
BC.
Yeah, they're from Vancouver, BC.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said. Cool.
Home of Mass Grave, by the way. Not a band that's traditional heavy metal.
Matt Fletch said to check out Savage Blood.
You mean like right there?
Oh, right there. Hang on. Let me
Somebody
bring it up bigger. There we go.
Yeah, somebody has a eagle eye.
There's 2 of them there. Took me a while to find them. I had to order them from Germany. But anyway, I got a couple more here. This band here I've really been getting into a lot. I just picked up their new one, and it's on High Roller Records. They're out of Ohio, Iron Flame.
Iron Flame. Okay, that's one I'll need to check out.
Now, this is very, very new wave of traditional heavy metal sounding. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. This is their latest. They have 5 releases out, and in fact, they're all out on vinyl too. But,
what's the name of that one?
Say again?
What's the name of the album?
Kingdom Torn Asunder.
Got it.
And another band that, if I can find it, right here, who I've interviewed on my show a number of years ago, this band is Shadow Killer.
Oh, yeah. I've got stuff from them, too. Matter of fact, I think you sent me that.
Right, I did. And I know the drummer very well. He's in a number of bands, but the vocalist of this band went out and they formed this band called Ancient Empire. All these are available on vinyl now. The last 2 just became available. You can get them on Underground Power Records out of Germany. Fantastic stuff. And then a band out of Greece that's kind of more epic in their sound, but still have that great overall traditional sound. It would be Solitary Sabbath.
Nice.
Which this one is Temple of the Servant. Again, I had to order from the band because they didn't have much of a label or a distro. You know, like a lot of these bands, I buy directly from them. You know, I mean, where else can you get them if they don't have?
It's funny you have this sitting behind you. I have it sitting behind me as well.
Oh, the Symforce? Yeah,
it's right behind you. But I got a few more I can show here too. Let's see. I only pulled one by this band, but I have all their albums. Let me move myself in here.
Dreamer.
Yeah, Kingmaker. This is their latest. I think this is the latest. I don't actually. You know what? I need to check. They have a newer album.
No, I believe that's the latest.
And they this is not the same Screamer that was around in the 80s. That's a different band who are also awesome. I have their stuff as well. Yeah, that's their latest 2023 Steamhammer Records.
Is that the Screamer from Germany?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Then there's the other one then there's the other Screamer from the 80s from Kenosha. Remember them?
All right. Yeah, from Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin, exactly.
And then we're right over Kevin's head because that's the way everybody sounds up there.
No, we don't sound like that, eh?
All right, I know, Kevin.
That's Canada, man.
You're talking. I'm already starting to trend that way.
Let me show one more, and then I'll give it back to you, Kevin. You can show some more. But
oh yeah, I have the one on the right. You're right.
These guys are one of the earlier bands too. I believe they were the mid 2000s.
What's the name?
I think they only put Ambush. They only put 2 albums out. A little bit on the heavier side. They're not quite as but it's still just really good, straightforward heavy metal. I wouldn't describe them as anything else. And I don't know if I could I'm just gonna throw it in the mix. It's not really new wave of traditional heavy metal. It's very Black Sabbath inspired stuff, but I've been pumping these guys up for a while now. But this is Patriarchs in Black, which is
not Architects in Black?
No, Patriarchs in Black, who we had on the show 3-4 weeks ago. But it's John Kelly from drummer from God gummit. Why do I get on the camera on? Thank you. Type of Negative. I get on screen and I get stupid. And then of course Dan Lorenzo from Hades. They're the 2 main guys in the band. But yeah, they have 3 albums out now, and all 3 are fantastic. So, but yeah, I mean it's traditional metal. The funny thing is though they unlike a lot of these newer bands, they don't mind straying a little bit. Like on the last 2 albums, they brought in DMC to do some vocals, and he does a great job.
Yeah,
DMC from Run DMC. So anyhow, go ahead, Kevin. I'm going to put you back in the main one. There you go.
I've got some 7-inch here. Of course, you're a big 7-inch collector, just like me. I picked up a couple of these High Spirits. Oh
wow, nice.
Chicago. I think they have like 5 albums out. Great band. Definitely have that traditional heavy metal sound. Of course, my favorite band. Of course, we'll show you. Let's see. These are the first two.
So are those singles off of albums, or are they just songs, one-off songs?
These are just one-off songs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty daring, man. That dude's got a they're splits with other bands. That's cool.
Yep. When I showed that Spellcaster, Seven Sisters was the band that he was in, and of course Fortress. This is Fortress split with this band was out of Australia.
Okay, because there's a Fortress also in Houston, but they're more. In fact, they were traditional heavy metal, and then they became kind of like Hellstar and that type of thing, and then they became just total black metal, almost black death metal.
Right.
Kind of weird.
And then there, of course, I got these two aunts here. These are relatively new. Of course, they're.
Of course, you have to buy the different color.
Orange and blue. Yeah, you got to do that. And then, of course, this one just came out.
Oh, nice. I didn't buy that one.
This one is autographed. So, I mean,
here you go.
He does a lot of.
Yeah, he just showed
me a lot of stuff. There you go. That's one I think I sent you, didn't I?
Is yours blue or orange?
This one is orange. And then here's a Haunt Flexi.
Oh, Flexi disc.
That I don't have. I don't have the Flex. But anyway,
I found this for $1 in a record store in Arizona. The Flexi.
That's Holy Mountain Printing does a lot of. They do all the shirts for like Devourment, Haunt, Blood Incantation. They're a huge custom screen printing company.
Yeah, they're one of the sponsors of this, along with Shadow Kingdom Records and Decibel Magazine.
Right. Well, here's a band. This band's been around. They're a little more softer, on the new wave traditional side, but band called Hitten.
They're good too. Aren't they from Spain? Am I right? Let me look it up. Yeah, you can keep going.
Right in that general region.
Yeah.
And this is a band was kind of one of the early ones too, Holy Grail.
Yep, they are from Spain.
About them, and they're actually I think they're more speed metal and thrash, but if you can pull off Fast as a Shark, I guess that's more heavy metal.
That one is autographed as well.
That's nice.
In fact, come to think of this, I found this in a record shop.
That's autographed. That's nice.
Charger. This one's kind of a little more has a little more of a punkier edge to it, but still retains that metal sound.
Aren't they Canadian too?
Yes.
There's quite a few bands coming out of Canada.
Bloodstar.
Nice. I don't have that one either.
This is a female fronted band, of course, 3-piece. They do have they just released a full-length album this year, so. And then a band called Night Gaunt. I
don't know that one either.
This is kind of on a really small label out of Canada called Temple of Mystery Records, which I don't think it's around anymore. I believe they folded. And then, of course, you got to have Night Demon.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. They've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The Willie John Roth.
I am missing that one, and I want that one so dang bad.
Wow.
Yeah, because they do Entrance, and with Uli, I want that thing so bad, and I can't get it. Can't find it.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name that is who's the kind of the head honcho for Night Demon. Because he was putting out mixtapes. In fact, our buddy Rob Doom from Houston was doing a mixtape for him, and if you haven't heard them, you need to dive into that. They're still available. They would put out like 100 of them, but they're all like mystery tapes. But if you're into new wave of British heavy metal or traditional heavy metal, Rob Doom is a good source. They're touring now too, aren't they? They're out with.
Not quite yet. I think they're getting ready to though. I think they're doing some recording. I think they're coming out with a new album soon. Been a while for them. But anyway, these are the last two I have. There was supposed to be one more that was pressed and everything was a go. and they lost the package. They don't know where the box went, ended up, or anywhere. So everybody that pre-ordered that 7-inch, and it was this Visteria or something like that. And so with that box being lost in wherever it went, there was thousands and thousands of dollars in 7-inch that people pre-ordered and never got. So then they never did repress it. But
wow, hijacked.
Yeah,
hijacked heavy metal.
Yep, exactly.
I got a couple more sitting here. I can show. I pulled a few 7-inches too here. Sadistic Force.
Sadistic Force.
That's not for the Houston band, is it?
I think I sent you one of these, if I'm not mistaken. Kevin.
You did.
Kevin. For those who don't, I mean, none of you probably know, but Kevin and I have been friends for what,
20 years?
At least 20 years, if not longer. Yeah.
Way back in the early days.
It was back in the 90s is when we first started writing back and forth to each other when I was in Ultimatum, and then it went to.
I think we met each other like on Web TV.
Yep. Yeah. So anyhow, Sadistic Force. This is a bit more raw. This might actually be right up your alley, John. It's got the raw vocals, a little bit on the heavier side, as you can kind of tell by the artwork. And then I think this is fantastic. This is a really cool 7-inch collection from Witch Hazel, and it's actually 3 albums in here, 3 singles, and it's all their early demo stuff.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's the only thing I don't like about it is it's too big. It doesn't fit in with your regular 7-inches. It's just a hair too big.
I hate when that happens.
Yep, I've got like 3 or 4 of those, and it's annoying. They don't fit in there right. But anyhow, Witch Hazel's fantastic, and those guys are cranking out the music too. They should be having a new album coming out soon, from what I heard. So
I got my last few here, and then that's it for me.
Go for it. I'm going to throw you in here.
I do buy a lot of cassettes. Yeah, well, I shouldn't say a lot of cassettes, but I do buy a fair number, especially those that are in kind of limited pressings, 50, 25, stuff like that. And I know I check out the music. Torpedo.
Another one of those new wave of traditional heavy metal bands.
So anyway, one of the bands as I found was a band called Sintage. I think these guys are out of France. The Sign.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, and then I showed the vinyl. I do have the cassette too of Saber.
Oh, nice.
And then this is kind of a really obscure band out of Canada. I believe they're out of Ottawa, Ontario. Band called Allagash. Their music is predominantly UFO metal. Alien metal is what they call it. And it's very good.
But not like Blood Incantation?
No, I don't think so.
Not that heavy.
And then here's a band I came across, I think a couple of years ago. They finally put out a full-length band called Amethyst.
Oh, yeah, I have that too.
Yep. I've heard of them.
Rock Knights.
Somebody mentioned Blade Killer.
There's a band, I believe, out of New Mexico. Scott, you may know them. Ancient Warrior.
Nope, don't know them, but I'll need to look into them.
Last couple here, I think this one was only, they're 75. I got number 41 band called Sparrow.
Doesn't sound very heavy, does it?
No, but it's really good.
Yeah.
No, there's a Sparrows in Fort Worth or in Dallas that's like borderline black metal, kind of like 3 Inches of Blood meets Marduk. But
my last one is actually I just got this here a couple weeks ago. A band called Pectora.
I like the cover art; it's kind of cool.
Solitary Tapes. I think there's only 4 tracks. Actually, only 50 were pressed, so I got number 36. But a few of my metal tapes, I got a whole stack of them right over here, about 300-400 of them.
Yeah, I got a bunch of metal tapes too. I don't play them as often. I just play my vinyl CDs, but well, cool, man. That's a full hour. So I guess I did want to mention something that I forgot to mention earlier. Hang on, I'm gonna solo myself real quick here. Here's the new Hyrax. It is 4-song, full set
I ordered it the other night. So
one doggone it, 4-song. I couldn't get that out of my mouth. EP. Unfortunately, it's expensive because it's coming out of what was it, Germany? I believe it is. No, I don't know. Anyhow, but I happen to get 10 copies of it. If you go to NoLifeToMetalRecords.com, we have 10 copies there. We have 9 now apparently because I think Kevin ordered one.
Yep.
But yeah, there. So we have. And when I say me, it's not actually me. It's actually Rocks Records in California has them. But if anybody's interested, yeah, we have copies of this. So I know we talked about it when we had Caton on the show not too long ago, and I showed this 2-3 weeks ago as well. So just wanted to let everyone know if anybody's looking for it. And they're not real expensive, were they? How much was it, Kevin? You remember? It was like
$12.99 maybe.
There you go. So it'll stay that price until they sell out, and then it'll triple in price like all the other Hyrax.
Well, that was days ago that I pre-ordered it, so I don't know how many are left now.
Yeah. Right on. So that's it. Unless anybody else has anything else they want to say or add or.
No, someone asked about Tail Gunner. I don't know anything about
Tail Gunner
or Blade
Tail Gunner.
Killer.
Excellent band. I do have Tail Gunner.
How about Pectora?
That's the one I just showed.
Okay.
How about Blade Killer?
I have Blade Killer as well. They're out of I think they're out of Canada.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what that says. I can't pronounce it. So
Czechia
maybe, yeah. That's that's a new one to me, man. And that's it. All right, on. So I appreciate y'all watching, man. We had quite a few people watching today. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and leave a thumbs up on the video. Help us get out there and share the videos, man. We need people to share the videos for us too. So you can find you know what I'm going to do so I'm not soloed here. I'm going to fix this thing too. There you go. Oh, I also wanted to mention that Metal Workout up there, he just recently retired.
Yes, a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations, because I know you were looking forward to it.
I want to say one thing. Everybody, I have a sister, and she was just diagnosed with pancreatic and liver cancer. So she's just started doing her treatment. Everybody can send her a prayer. That would be greatly appreciated.
What's her name? Her first name?
Her name is Treese.
Treese. Hang on a second. I'm writing it down. That's why we have silence here.
She's in for a long fight.
Yeah, that's
a tough one right there. Shout out to her and sending positive vibes her way. Man.
Yeah, it was a shocker, but they've come a long ways in treating cancer nowadays.
Yep. Yep, exactly.
So more power to her and to the doctors that are treating her.
Yeah.
Well, before I get out of here and let everybody know where you can find me and John, where can people find you at, Kevin? Where can
you can find me over on my Facebook under Kevin Kohlhase, or you can my YouTube channel. I think Scott will put a link to it.
Yeah, I'll put a link to it.
That's predominantly where I basically go, and Bandcamp, of course.
And the name of your channel is?
You got me baffled.
Old Metal
Rocker 65.
There you go, Old Metal Rocker 65. There you go. Used to be War God, because it used to be War God 60 at one time.
Well, originally my first original name when I first started doing shows was the Outdoor Metal Rocker, because I was active in the outdoors all the time, fishing, hunting, and stuff like that. So, but I don't really hunt and fish anymore. So.
But you still bicycle quite a bit.
Records.
I'm just old. So.
He's a bicyclist now, and you lost how much weight in the last couple years?
It's been about 2 years now. I've lost well over 80 pounds. I usually ride bike about 15 miles a day, so that keeps me going.
There you go.
Just keep active.
And I agree with you here.
Yeah,
Fraser,
we've
screw cancer.
Lost way too many people to that terrible disease.
So, yep, exactly. All right. Well, anyhow, we got to get going. So you can find. Let me see if I can. Let me do this. I'm not as good as this as Rob is here. So you can find John on Instagram. There you go, at Carcass John Art. You can find me on Instagram at No Life Till Metal. You can also find me on YouTube by searching either Scott Waters or No Life Till Metal, all one word. Either one will find me there. And that's it for episode number 238, the new wave of traditional heavy metal. Anything you need to say before we go?
Yeah, John? check out 128 DB Rock. It's an app and it's pretty cool. And I've got a show from 10 to midnight every Saturday called The Crypt, as you well know. And please hit me up on Instagram at Carcass John Art and give me some suggestions to play. I'm pulling all this stuff out of my own brain, and sometimes I want to keep it fresh and be happy to play something if it's heavy. This isn't. This is a heavier show, but I mix it up. So 128 DB Rock. Get the app, listen to the show, give me your suggestions at Carcass John Art. Thanks.
Awesome. And you know how we end it? Always the same way. With the metal shall prevail. So here we go. Ready?
Yes. 2.
You go ahead. You go ahead and do it. So while I get ready to exit us out, go ahead there, John.
Metal will prevail.
And then you have to look all badass. And then Rob usually leaves us sitting here looking stupid for a while.